2024, 9 p.m. Indian Standard Time. So, guidelines for the program: please stay muted during the fireside chat session. We don't want any external audio disturbances. Also, please turn off the video. The speaker and myself, as a host, we will have our video on. The rest of the participants, you can please close your video. The entire session is recorded, so that the recording can be made available in our public YouTube channel. Sam, a lot of people watch the recording because they're not able to join. So you will see a lot of people asking questions post the session after they watch the recording. For the audience, if you have any questions, please use the Slido program. I will talk about the Slido program, how to use it very soon in the next slide. Along with asking questions in Slido, there will also be periodic live polls that we as a host will be publishing. Please participate in those polls. And finally, during the Q&A session, the second half of the program, when somebody asks a question, if your name is called, please unmute to ask your question. So today's guest speaker is Dr. Samiullah Khan, 1994 mechanical engineering from CEG. He's the chief CSO of Fakhruddin Holdings, chief executive officer of Saif AIR Tech, and chief operating officer of Fakhruddin Integrated Services. I'll be the host. Jaitesh will be the co-host of the program, and Partha is tech support, who is responsible for the website recording as well as other support that we need during the program. So today's program, we can ask the questions using Slido. To use Slido, you can go to any browser and any device. It could be laptop, desktop, mobile, or tablets. Go to any browser and type slido.com. When you do the slido.com in the browser, you will get a screen. There will be a place where it asks for your ID for this particular session. You can type in 1414672. This number that we have, we'll periodically publishing in the Google Meet message area. So you can, if you're not able to remember it, you can definitely look up and then use this number. So slido.com 1414672. When you type that, you will get to a screen like this. You'll have two tabs: the Q&A tab and the polls tab. In the Q&A tab, you can type in your question whenever during the course of the session, either for the host or for the guest. And the poll session is where we will be publishing polls periodically, which you could respond with your responses to the questions we are asking. Please do participate in the poll. It's one way for us to get real-time feedback while the program is going on. So that's all I had. So I'm going to stop the presentation, Sam, and then I'll hand it back to you. Okay. So over to you, Sam. 20 minutes. I'll keep track of the time, and so I'll remind you maybe about a few minutes before the time is over to complete your story. But
sure.
Over to you right now. Thanks.
Sure. So, vanakkam to all of you, and I'm speaking to you from Dubai, so we should have a Dubai flavor. So my greetings is Assalamu alaikum, and which means peace be upon you. And I just want to also do another very short verse in Arabic, which is Khala Rabbi Shrahli Sadri wa Yassirli Amri Wahlul Uddatum Millisani Yukfahu Khawli. This is a prayer of Prophet Moses. Moses, when he was asked to go and speak to the Pharaoh, he was told to communicate to the king and invite him towards peace and prosperity and equality. So he said, if I'm going to speak to the king, I am a very small person. Will the king listen to me? So the prayer which he asked, what was the meaning was, God, please expand for me my chest or breast. Make me brave because I have to speak to this big guy. Then he says, remove the impediments from my speech. Moses was a stammerer. He could not communicate properly. And he was to address the king and the noble people of Egypt. So he requests that God should remove the impediment from his speech and make his task easy for him so that the people can understand. So this was the prayer of Moses, and I see a lot of similarities between Moses and Lord Krishna.
Wow.
And might be if somebody asks me during the question answer session, then I will give a brief about the similarities between these two great historic figures.
Wow.
ladies and gentlemen, I'm speaking to you after 35 prominent CGNs. You heard stories where people have moved from rags to riches. People have been phenomenal in terms of academics, brilliant in terms of business, and they've all been giving you advice, and I have been listening to it. So I'm wondering, after 35 sessions, what kind of new advice will I be able to impart? So that's going to be a big challenge, but definitely I would like to make a try and share with you my story. Now,
Definitely.
my story is a story of learning, gratitude, blessing, and timing. And if I have to make it interesting for you to remember, it's LGBT: learning, gratitude, and blessing with timing. And I'm going to give you an example for all this in the different aspects of my life, which has happened till now. So I have been in the industry for almost 30 years. And I've been in the automobile, in the entire value chain, which is starting from the assembly in the factory, customer care, marketing, sales. I've been in the education industry, in the IT industry, in hospitality, in real estate, in retail, in sustainability. And right now, my focus is on air, water, energy, and food security.
Very
So
good.
this is my core areas of competence. But I'll just take my story a little behind so that I can give you a right perspective. My parents named me Samiullah. Samiullah means it's an attribute of God that he listens. He listens to what you have to say. But my wife, she says you need to speak lesser and listen more, like your name. And even in terms of name, there is something very similar. When I started reciting about Allah. And the word Allah is a literal translation of the word God. And many of the words which we use in Islam have very, very direct translations and names in our theology in terms of India. Like, for example, you have the word Brahma. Brahma, which is the creator, is also called Khalik in Islam. We say Vishnu, which means sustainer. And in Arabic, they call them Rab. So there are so many similarities which are there between this that it's just amazing and mind boggling. And I was blessed because I was born in a Muslim family, lived in a community where majority were learned Brahmins, Hindus, and did all my primary education till my 12th grade in a Christian missionary school. So having these three backgrounds gave me a very interesting perspective, which a lot of people would not have because of the kind of environment which they grew. And I was also blessed because my father, he was a chief engineer of the Corporation of Madras. So very strong engineering background, and he's a CEG alumni. And my mother was a principal of a school. So education and engineering is in my DNA. And I was really blessed because I was given the best possible education. I studied at St. Michael's. And just to give you again a perspective, my one term school fee was more than 4 years what a person spent in CG in terms of engineering.
Uh,
So, so I got a very good education background, but a very unique thing with me was in the morning, I used to spend time in this affluent school, which everybody has to speak English, and the standards were extremely high. And in the evening after my school, I used to go to my mom's school, which was a corporation school. And I used to be interacting with the children there in the corporation school, playing with them and enjoying with them. So this perspective of being able to deal with the rich and affluent, and also the people who were not so well blessed in terms of financials, again gave me a very good perspective of life. So I used to have friends who were sons of millionaires and IAS officers and industrialists. And then I used to also have friends who used to play cricket with me, who were sons of fishermen. And, we used to have the scrap dealers and all these kind of people. And as far as I was concerned, they are both my friends. And this was a very good learning for me, because even when I started operating in the corporate life, I always used to give value to the person and not the person's designation or the background. And that is a very useful aspect. And as far as CG is concerned, CG is like a family university. My fathers, my uncles, my cousins, all of them graduated from CG. And as a child, when we used to pass through Gindi, even when I was in school, I used to tell that this is the college where dad studied, this is the college where uncle studied, and this is the college where I'm going to study. So it was like a decision. And when my dad came and said me, why don't you look at IIT and other institutions? I said, no, I want to go to CG. That's all. So it was a very, very clear kind of a target which was set. And again, coming back to school, one of the things was that I used to be involved in sports. And it's a very interesting thing. I had a friend of mine who used to play cricket. And after school, I used to wait for him till he finished his cricket practice. And while waiting in the field, I saw some guys, I mean, I'm talking about 7th and 8th grade. They used to do this shot put. And they used to throw the shot put from the ring. And there was nobody on the other side to go pick the shot put and put it back to them. And there used to be a long line in front of the ring. So what I did is I volunteered to stand on the other side. And so we had all the seniors and all the guys who were throwing the shot put from the ring. And on the other side, I used to be a single guy who used to throw the shot put back to them. So this started in 7th and 8th grade. By the time I reached 9th grade, I was beating all of them. So when I was in 10th grade, I was not only winning in under 15, but also under 17. So I realized a very interesting aspect here. Practice makes all the difference. And doing this, it gave me an idea that, okay, if you can repeatedly do something, then you become good at it. And then I started up volleyball, cricket, and many other sports. And because of the kind of practice which we did, I was able to be the captain of the school, the college also later in terms of volleyball and athletics. And when I got into CG, it was possibly a dream come true. And nothing more was satisfying than entering into CG. I was feeling so proud. My parents were very happy that we got into CG. And immediately when I got admission into CG, my parents got me a motorcycle, Yamaha RX 100. And Yamaha RX 100 in 1990 was any young man's dream. So studying in possibly the best college, having a bike was something life-changing for me. And I thoroughly enjoyed my life in college. In college, the friends I made all the difference. I had some very, very good friends in college who were not only helping me in my academics, but also supporting me in various things which I was doing. And it was a real fun time in college. And one of the things which I'd like to share, I was in mechanical engineering, and with two of my classmates at that point of time, we changed a Contessa engine from petrol engine to diesel. and we are mechanical engineers. So we were very proud of what we had done. And we said, now we have to take it for a long drive. So we went from Chennai to Ooty. And when we were driving to Ooty, almost I think 80% of the fuel was over by the time we reached the downhills. And we said, we are all engineers, we should be very prepared. So let's have a refill and then we go up. So we filled the fuel in downhill, and then we went up and we parked the car in the night. And in the morning, when we went to start the car didn't start. And we realized that the fuel was frozen because of the temperature. Now, we had studied that, when you go into high altitude, the temperature is low. So you need to use antifreeze in the diesel. But in spite of what we studied, we didn't practice that. So that realization that, okay, what you study is great, but implementation of what you learned is more important, was a very good learning which we got during that entire experience. And I should also say the faculty which we had in Guindy at my time was amazing. Some of the professors I'm still in touch with. Now they're all in senior positions in different universities. I still call them up and speak to them. And in Guindy, after my Guindy time, I joined Tata Motors in campus interview. And campus interview was cool. But one of the things which I wanted to share here is our final interview was in Bombay. And I had my relatives in Bombay with whom I could stay. But I was asking the Tata Motors, at that time it was called Telco. So the HR manager, how do I come to your place? And he made a very nice statement. He said, just land in Bombay, go to the station and look up. The tallest building is our building. And it was very impressive. I went to that time what was the World Trade Center there. And it was an amazing experience. I went one day before the interview. And I was wearing a tie and I went in the metro. And when I got out of the metro, my tie was behind somewhere here. Because there was so much crowd in Bombay that inside the metro was itself a big challenge for anybody from Chennai. And at the interview, when I entered into the final interview place, I saw all these boys with suits, tie, well-dressed, immaculate. And in spite of my upbringing, I was feeling a little insecure. I said, am I underdressed in front of them? And the reason why I'm sharing this is all the young engineers, when you go to such in places, it is always better to be overdressed than underdressed. And in spite of the dress, what matter you have to say definitely makes sense. But of course, the first impressions is also important. So please take some time in your wardrobe. It's worth the investment. So I joined Tata Motors in Jamshedpur. Again, it was a wonderful experience. I used to think my life at CG was the best part of life, but I thought then later Jamshedpur was even better because we had a lot of fun in Jamshedpur, a lot of learning over there, and we were also getting paid. At that point of time, our training was for 2 years. And after we completed a very short training in Jamshedpur, I was sent to Bombay and to Pune and then to Delhi. And all this time, my Yamaha was with me. So from Chennai, I took it to Jamshedpur. I was using it in Jamshedpur, then went to Pune, then to Bombay with my motorcycle. So a couple of things which I did, which was very interesting in Jamshedpur is, after I landed in Jamshedpur, I didn't know anybody there. And I wrote letters to all the senior people in the city, like the police chief, the mayor, and all the big guys. And I said that I'm Samiullah Khan. I've come from Chennai. I'm working here. I just want to meet you, and I don't need any money or support. I just want to say hello. And surprisingly, a lot of very senior people responded back to me and said, we'd like to meet you. And I had access to all of them, and they gave a lot of support. Typically, a very senior person who was there in Jamshedpur, he told me, do you play squash? And I said, I've never played squash. So he said, why don't you try? Come with me to the club and let's play squash. So I started squash in Jamshedpur in a club called Beldi Club, which is supposed to be on the richest and the most affluent people go to that club. So I got access to that club and the people there because of that 20 paisa inland letter which I had sent to these people. And I was there for 6 months in Jamshedpur, finished in Pune, and a very interesting experience in Pune. That is the time we were launching the Sumo car or the Jeep. So we used to take this vehicle for trials. And when we used to take the vehicle for trials, we used to go to the fuel station and we used to say, fuel bhar do. And the fellow has never seen the car before. So he used to say, petrol or diesel? And one of my friends said, Sasta kaun sa hai? Okay, which means, which is cheaper? And they said diesel. So fill diesel. And that is a kind of wonderful time which we had, a lot of fun and lot of learning in Pune. Amazing place in terms of experience. And after that, I was for a short time in Delhi, and then I was posted as the service head for Kanpur. Now, this was a very interesting thing because Kanpur did not have a Tata Motors or telco office. So, having a person under training to be in charge of a city like Kanpur was never done in Tata Motors. So, I don't know whether it was a mistake, but they said, okay, your HR has given you a posting in Kanpur, so you need to go to Kanpur. So, I was taken to Kanpur, and I was actually sitting at the dealership, in a very powerful dealership called Kailash Motors. And I was 21 years. So I was just trying to learn on how to manage the dealership as a representative of Tata. And one of the very important things which I learned there is that you could be the Tata representative, but the dealers are extremely powerful people. And the dealership was owned by Kailash Chand Gupta. He was the member of parliament. So that is the kind of stature of people you interact with. Now, when I went there, I saw that, the workshop opens at around 8 o'clock and we shut down at 4, 5. Normally, the trucks come at 11 to 12 in the afternoon. They don't come early in the morning. So I suggested to the general manager of Kailash Motors there, he's a retired army veteran. So I said, Tiwari ji, why don't we have 2 shifts in the workshop? So let us start a little early in lean shift. And then in the evening, again, we will spend some more time later so that we can complete the work. And he said, who will sit in the evening? I said, I will sit in the evening. So I volunteered to sit in the workshop in the evening just so that a senior person is there in the workshop. This small decision which I took, it made the customers very happy. Because earlier, you used to bring the truck at 10, 11. The work never used to get completed. So the delivery of the truck was the next day. And with this action, the trucks and buses got delivered on the same day. And the profitability of this immediately in the next 2 months shot up substantially. And I got a call from the dealership owner, Ishwar Chand Gupta. And Mr. Gupta called me and he said, "Arey, kya kiya tumne? Kaisa sudden se itna change ho gaya hai? Sab log bol rahe hai ki bahut acha kiya." Then I said that, sir, this is what I did. It's very simple. But basically what I did was I did 2 shifts, lean shift in the morning and evening. We were spending more number of hours in the workshop. And then he asked me, where do you sit? So I said, sir, जो dealership का GM का कमरा है उसी में I sit. So I said, नहीं, मेरा room है in the dealership, you use my room. So I got a 1,000 square foot room in the dealership, which is used by the owner of the dealership. And this small change made a huge impact. And I said that my story is of a blessing. One of the important things which happened was in the Transport Association election, the man from Kanpur, he won as the president of All India Motor Association. And naturally, what happens is senior people from Tata come to wish him in Kanpur. And because I was the manager of Kanpur, I was asked to go along with them. So I went with Mr. Maniraman, who was the head of service of Tata Motors, to meet the president of the Transport Association. And this president of the Transport Association, he told Mr. Maniraman that ये लड़का बहुत अच्छा है, ये आने के बाद डीलरशिप पूरा चेंज हो गया है. And Mr. Maniraman, he asked me, where are you from? So I said, sir, I'm from Chennai, Tamil Nadu. He said, you're Tamil? I thought you're from, North India, Samiullah Khan, something, you're here. So he was surprised that I was from Chennai. He's from MIT. And immediately what happened was, he said, do you have any problem of going to any other city? So I said, sir, from Chennai, you have put me in Kanpur. What more can you do? Only other places, Jammu and Kashmir. He went, and after 1 week, I got a posting of Bangladesh. Now, normally, a foreign assignment is given to somebody who's 10 to 15 years of experience in the domestic market. And foreign is supposed to be a very good posting. But I was very lucky that I got posted in a place called Chittagong. And I was managing not only the workshop in Chittagong, but also an assembly factory of the government of Bangladesh. So this was an excellent opportunity. And after I went to Chittagong, I was available for all the clients. And it was the empathy which I had to the clients. I was always putting myself in the shoes of the client and trying to make sure that all the vehicles which were coming to the workshop were treated properly and the vehicles were delivered as soon as possible. Now, there again, we had a major challenge because unlike India, where spare parts availability is very high for Tata vehicles, in Bangladesh, it was not the same. Many times the vehicle used to come and we did not have spare parts. So the vehicle used to wait in the workshop till the parts came from India, which sometimes took almost a week. So the background of the customer care was not very strong. And that was what was my responsibility. So what I did was, we had an assembly factory. So I went to the assembly factory and I said that in CKD and SKD, the components which you're having, if you can give it to me, then I'll put these vehicles on road, and later when the parts come, I'll replace it for you. Now, nobody was taking that kind of a responsibility. The managing director of the assembly factory, he said, see, if you don't deliver the parts, then my vehicle is not going to get assembled. But somehow I managed to convince him that I will give him the parts. So after this small move, the customers were extremely happy with the kind of response which we got. And my core area was Chittagong. And people saw that the service levels in Chittagong was very high. And people were calling Dhaka, which is the central office, and saying that we want this guy to come and handle our service station. So within 1 year, I was not only handling Chittagong, but all of Bangladesh other than Dhaka, which was the capital city, where I had a senior colleague of mine who was in charge. And the customers were extremely happy. And when the sales team used to go to the customers, mostly fleet operators, and they used to say that, okay, this is a new product, we want to sell this to you, they used to tell, wait, let me call Khan. So the customer will call Khan and say, aapka sales ka aadmi hai idhar, your sales team is here, do you think we should buy? And if I said, don't worry, buy, then they would buy. So I was influencing the sales predominantly. So what Tata noticed this, and they said that being in customer care and service, if you can influence sales, then you should be in sales. So I shifted from customer care or service to sales. And again, the performance was extremely good. During the time, I brought in a lot of changes in the systems, the processes which were there, took a lot of initiatives, and this was highly recognized in Bangladesh. And in Bangladesh, I learned also how to speak Bangla, and which has become very useful for me because now in the Middle East, a lot of people are there from Bangladesh. So knowing a South Indian language, Hindi, and also East Indian language like Bangla was very helpful for me. And when I was there in Bangladesh, there was a very interesting opportunity in Iraq. So at Iraq, there was tenders which were happening in oil for food program, and they needed somebody who had commercial knowledge and technical knowledge in tenders. So Bombay said that, okay, we are going to send you to Iraq, so be ready. So after some time, when I was just checking, that thing was not moving through. And they were telling me, there's a challenge. We are not able to get the visa. We are not able to plan your trip because of the visa. So I said, do you mind if I get it organized? So they said, no, if you can get it organized, great. So what I did was, when I was there in Bangladesh, I went straight to the ambassador of Iraq and said that, see, I'm from Tata. I need to go to Iraq and I need a visa. And this guy said, okay, you're from Tata. Okay, we are going to give you a visa. And I got the visa on the same day without application, without any other documentation. Then I called up Bombay. They were trying to get my visa from Jordan for the last 3 weeks. They could not do it. I could get it done within 1 day by just taking that initiative. So then I went to Baghdad, I went to Basra, did a lot of work in Iraq. At that point of time, there was some requirement in Saudi Arabia. So I was called from Bangladesh to take over Saudi Arabia as the country head. That was in year 2000. So 2000, and at that time I was about 27 years old. So I was among the youngest person in Tata to become a country head for such a big geography. But when I reached Bombay and took over the file of Saudi, I found out that we had some legal issues in Saudi Arabia. We had some 300 vehicles parked in Saudi Arabia, which have not been operational for the last 4 years. And I was looking at all the files. And when I told Tata that I have to go to Saudi Arabia, they said, wait, wait, wait. So I was almost like a bench in IT, where I was sitting in Bombay staring at the file. During that time, I had a colleague, a senior colleague of mine. His name is Amrit Kuruvilla. I still remember him very well. His table used to be in a mess. There used to be papers all over the place. And every time my big boss, Mr. Rangan, who's from IIT Madras and IIM Ahmedabad, in the meetings, he used to say, Amrit, you need to clean up your table. Don't keep it like that. And what I did was, I took the initiative because I had the time to actually put all the papers together for him and clean up his table. When I cleaned up that table for him, Mr. Rangan saw this and he called and told in the meeting, Amrit, good job. You have cleaned the table. And Amrit knew that he didn't do it. So then he asked, hey, who did this? So I said, Amrit, I just cleaned up the table for you. He said, Sam, thank you very much. I really appreciate what you did. I've been trying to do this for a long time, but I didn't have the time to do it. But tell me, what are you doing? And I said, I'm waiting to go to Saudi Arabia. So he said, I have some work. So he was a regional head. So he was handling Africa, Ethiopia, Djibouti, and all these countries. So he said, do you mind helping me in this? I want you to handle these territories. So I went there for Saudi Arabia. Then I inherited Ethiopia, Djibouti, and Nigeria. And slowly I was collecting a lot of territories under me because I was taking this initiative in Tata Motors. Then I got the opportunity of going to Saudi Arabia. And when I went to Saudi Arabia, we had about 300 vehicles in stock, and it was in depleted condition. But after 10 years, when I finished, we had 96% market share in Saudi Arabia. And the actions which I did in Saudi Arabia are now case studies in most of the institutions. Because one of the things which I did in Saudi Arabia is one of the biggest tenders in Saudi Arabia for the school bus. The girls' school bus, Saudi government 1,200 air-conditioned buses. I won that tender in Saudi Arabia, and it was a phenomenal opportunity over there. It was such a wonderful experience because we were competing with Mercedes, Volvo, Scania, all the big names, Hyundai, the Chinese companies, and for Tata to get that contracts was good. And this change actually put me directly in connection with the vice chairman, Mr. Ravikant, and Mr. Ratan Tata. So I had the opportunity actually to interact directly with Mr. Tata. He came over to Saudi Arabia, and we spent a lot of time together. And I still cherish the first letter which Mr. Ratan Tata wrote to me, saying, "Dear Sam, I loved the interaction with you, and I look forward to meeting you again and working with you." So that is something which was phenomenal there in Saudi. So I was handling about 30 to 40 countries, different products, went to places like Congo, a lot of places in Africa to establish Tata. After 17 years with Tata, I took a break and I joined the SRM group as vice president with the support of the president, Mr. Satyanarayanan, who is a CEG alumni and was my
Yes.
classmate. And we did some wonderful work together. And one of the very interesting things which we did was we opened up multiple markets, including Iraq, Iran, and many other parts of Africa for our businesses. And I'd like to tell here another very interesting story which happened to me in Erbil, Kurdistan. So here, what happened was I was speaking at the university, and I found that when I was speaking at the university, they were using Excel and Word for all the university processes. They did not have a CRM. So I said, why don't you have a CRM like what other universities have? They said, we can't afford to have a Oracle or a SAP system. So that's why we are using Excel and Word. So I spoke to SRM. We have a company called SRM Technologies. And we said, can we do this software for the universities here? So they said, sure, it should not be a problem because we know the working of a university very well. Then I went to the university and asked them, okay, what is the kind of budget you have? And they told me that, we can do about some 200, a $250,000. And $250,000 for a university software is a phenomenal price. So we ended up getting the contract from the government university of Kurdistan. And then I went to the private university. And again, I pitched, other than the university part, the software. And we got a contract from them too. So we got a $500,000 contract without even setting up an office in Kurdistan.
Wow.
And then later we established SRM Technologies there. And I learned a lot from the technologies division. Similarly, we were working on setting up the university in different parts. Then after 5 years with SRM, I joined His Highness here in UAE and was given possibly the best job a man can have. So I was the CEO of the World Islands. World Island is one of the most iconic real estate development on the face of earth. Dubai created 250 islands 4 kilometers into the sea. You might have heard about the Palm.
Hmm.
Palm you can drive down, but World Islands you need to go by yacht or by seaplane. And either as an engineer or as a commercial person, it is a phenomenal opportunity. And I should also thank another CEG alumni who was the MD of this island, Mr. Ravi Raman. I hope all these people come and speak to all of you, because these are real stalwarts. And
I think it's helpful to have them have the contacts, because obviously
most
they can
definitely,
go to work.
most definitely.
So,
So,
in terms of time, Sam, just want to get to the questions. So we have another few more minutes before you get to the questions.
sure. So, in the World Islands, one of the things, that's where my sustainability started,
Ah,
because we had the most expensive land on the face of Earth, but it didn't have electricity and it didn't have water. So we were transporting water not only for drinking, washing, irrigation, but also a freshwater swimming pool from Dubai. And the cost of transport of water was more than the cost of water. And same thing, electricity was not there. So we were operating generators and transporting diesel from mainland. And I thought that this is not the best way to run the infrastructure. So I started working on building integrated photovoltaic, floating solar, air to water, and all these kind of technologies with my connections at MIT and with Cambridge and Harvard. So when I presented this to the government and the Highness, he said, if you can do this in Dubai, why don't you do it? Why, if you can do it in the island, why don't you do it in Dubai? So I ended up producing 5,000 liters of high quality drinking water in the deserts of Dubai using solar power, using my contacts in US with a company called Source and a colleague from MIT. And when we did this, Bloomberg did a cover story with my photograph saying that Dubai creates water from air. And this was published in more than 50 newspapers and magazines all over the world. At that time, I was producing the water at 1 dirham per liter, which is about 22 rupees. Today, I am producing it at 20 frills per liter, which is 4 rupees per liter of drinking water. And I've caught 27. I went there and I spoke on how sustainability can be financially viable. For me, sustainability has three pillars: people, planet, and profit or prosperity. So if you can't meet these three pillars, then sustainability doesn't work. And these projects which I do are bankable. It's financially viable. So after I did this, I also did about 19 megawatt of rooftop solar, and later realized that energy saving is more cost effective than energy production. So I entered into energy saving field, and today I do direct air carbon capture from inside the built environment, and we improve the indoor air quality, reduce the sick building syndrome, eliminate the heat island effect, convert buildings into carbon sinks, and save 30% of the electricity bill. So, just to give you an idea about air quality, as per WHO, 7 million people die every year prematurely because of air quality, and the financial impact is about 5 trillion US dollars. So, this is what I'm solving right now. My PhD thesis is on that. And I also have a patent pending on something which is very innovative, which is going to be changing the entire HV industry as we know it. So this is a very short introduction of what I have been doing. And in terms of learnings which I would like to share with the team is that the most important aspect of this entire journey is the kind of learning which I've had. So you need to have the ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn. So if you have that ability, then you can change any sector and you can do good in any aspect or whatever you do. The second thing is how you manage your time. It's extremely important. And you should continuously be asking yourself, what is the most valuable utilization of your time at that point of time?
Mm,
So if you can keep asking this every hour, then you will use your time very effectively.
mm,
And a good way to get guided is to write down your goals. So whatever you have in terms of vision and what you want to do, whether it is long term or short term, please write it down. And believe me, you're always stronger than you seem and smarter than you think. So have the confidence in yourself, never give up, and keep striving. And the word, very interestingly, for striving in Arabic is jihad. And you might have heard this word very often, wrongly translated as holy war. So it is not holy war, but to strive and overcome all the challenges.
wow.
Stay humble, stay kind, because what you give, you will get back. So if you can take care of all this, then I'm sure you will have a good career and future.
Very nice.
So I'm open to questions.
Very nice. Very, very detailed and good examples too. I think you had a lot
Wow.
of good opportunities to do. So obviously you're taking advantage of all the opportunities and you highlighted what needs to be done. So Jitesh, you have any questions to start?
First off, I would like to say, so I think that's definitely a huge, huge list of achievements, and it was great just being a part of that conversation. It's super inspiring to say the least. I feel like the best parts throughout it was when you mentioned how you took the initiative, and not just when you had the position or the power. You took it right at Jamshedpur when you wrote those letters out, and I found that to be the most inspiring part in all of this. And that is sort of where my question lies, which is what I learned from this whole thing is I feel someone with initiative is the most valuable resource to a team. But at the same time, you also have to put in checks to make sure that it doesn't go over the top. So, what is it that you find? Like, what are the qualities that you search out from new talents and new hire? And how do you find people who have that initiative?
See, one of the things which I've always been doing and I found it very useful is having young people in your team, even as interns. So when I was in Tata, I used to always have a few IITians and IIM students in internship with me. And they used to do a lot of work and they always made me look good. And I continue to do the same thing here in UAE. I take a lot of interns from universities. I'm also on the board of multiple universities, one being Rochester University, which is the US Rochester University in Dubai. I also do a lot of work with SP Jain, Hamdan University. Get those interns and work. And very interestingly, last week I got a call or a message from a CEGN who wanted an internship. And in 15 minutes, I told him, come over, give me your documents, join me as an intern. And now he's working with me as an intern for the last 1 week. What I look for in people is you should not have the fear to express your opinion.
Hmm.
Most of the time, our students, they're highly knowledgeable, but they keep quiet. Okay. So they should have the confidence to stand up and give their views. I mean, it can be wrong, but that fear which you have, that needs to go. So
Hmm.
somebody who has the initiative is extremely important. Second thing is people who are ready to follow through and get it delivered. Because one of the things which happened to me was when I was in Tata and even right now, I come up with an idea. And normally, what the management or the owner says, are you ready to do this? Okay. So then you should be ready to act. So not just have an idea and give advice as a consultant. You should be able to execute your ideas. So if you are sure you have an idea, have the courage to voice that idea, and then also have the courage to execute that idea. And today, the very interesting thing is knowledge is available. You want to learn anything, all the information you require is available. So last week I was asked to speak about carbon credits, and I didn't know much. But when you search the net, you have today the AI, you ask the questions, you get all the answers. And after that, you almost in next few hours, you seem to know at least the basic. And if you put 10,000 hours on the subject, then you know more than anybody else on that subject. So it's all the time and effort which you put. If you are ready to do that, then it's always good. So I always look for people who have initiative and who are ready to take the risk to back their initiatives.
Amazing. Amazing. So there are a few questions in the line, Sam. So I want to ask Mr. Ramakrishnan, one of our senior CG alumnus, to ask his question. Sir, can you ask your question? Sir, you're on mute.
So you're muted.
So you're on mute, sir. Okay, go ahead.
Excellent talk, and very, very happy to hear you. And my question on the sustainability, you did not mention about the soil. Okay, one of the basic problem now is the lot of garbage is, I'm staying in Bangalore. The waste management is about 7 tons per day is the Bangalore waste, which goes to a landfill. And the other one is how to produce water from air. I saw some write-up from IIT Madras or somewhere, because drinking water is going to be a big issue. Because I wrote an article in Better India, I get about over 1,000 calls through emails. I wrote a brief article about solar, waste management, gardening, composting, and rainwater harvesting. But there's a big demand. But now the Howrah, I got a mail say that next 2 years there won't be drinking water in Calcutta. Okay, so maybe if you can share your email ID or something. No, I would like to make use of your knowledge and expertise. And
Definitely.
Particularly Dubai, soil may not be. There's so much plastic is getting produced. However, they're getting dumped and all that. We can mention, it'll be good.
I mean, sir, it's a phenomenal question. And I can speak on hours on this. You have asked me about air to water. You have asked me about waste. And you have asked me also about soil.
Yes,
so
sir.
I'm going to briefly tell you about each one of this.
Okay.
Air to water, there are multiple solutions available in India itself. And because you said Howrah, in Calcutta, there is a company called Aquo. The name of the company is Aquo. And there's a Sardarji who does air to water in Calcutta. I have visited their factory. I've imported those units and I've tested it in Dubai. So they produce water from humidity. And, when we were in college and all that, we used to listen to the statement that the next third world war is going to be because of water.
Water, yes.
I can assure you that I will not let it happen. I can make water anywhere in the world where the humidity is more than 20%. All we need is 20% humidity. And in Howrah, the humidity is above 75%. So there is no problem, not only in Howrah, but also in Bangalore. We can make water substantially, as much as you require from the humidity. And this is now a very simple solution. You can use either the condensation process, which will of course require some energy, but that can come from solar, or you can use the adsorption process. Now, just to give you an example, if you keep salt on your table, after some time it takes water.
Right.
So that only thing is that quantity is less. Now we can use the same technology to increase the amount of water which we produce. And the good part is that we can produce water of any quality, because we are producing pure H2O. Then we are ionizing it, then we are ozonizing it. After that, we are mineralizing it before we give it for drinking. So when we do that, if you tell me I want specifications of Evian, we can produce water Evian quality. If you want WAS, if you want Perrier, any water quality we can produce. And UAE is one of the pioneers in this. We have now a lot of air to water because we want to reduce our dependence on desalination. So that is regarding air to water, and it is commercially viable. So that is what I wanted to point out to you. This technology is available everywhere. It's very simple technology. And the second thing is you asked me about the plastic and waste. Today, all the waste, we are converting it to energy. So there are multiple processes which are there, which we can convert the entire waste into energy. And there are companies which come and invest in this. So Bangalore municipality, if they call one of the companies, then we will come and invest in this. We'll convert the waste into energy. And only thing is they have to sign an agreement saying that they will purchase the energy which we produce. So waste can be handled. And that also reduces the methane emission from the waste lands. And methane is 100 times more worse than carbon. So waste is a very important aspect which we need to take care. The other question which you were talking about soil, I'd like to just have a joke. Now we don't need soil to grow plants. We have hydroponic farming. We have various other processes. And what I have actually done is I have set up a hydroponic farm using radiant cooling in a 22-story building in a prime location in Business Bay in Dubai. So now we are having a lot of visitors. And by this, what we do is we say that we need to do organic farming, which can be done and it can be exponentially used, and it can be urban farming. And incidentally, again, I have collaborated with a company from Bangalore on this. It's called Urban Kisan. Urban Kisan does vertical gardens, and they are very effective. And I've also collaborated with multiple other companies to do this farming in Dubai. Today, you can produce literally anything in a greenhouse in Dubai. So we are also planting rice in UAE now. And we have set up one of the biggest dairy farm. And I'm using a lot of engineering there, like we are using thermal storage devices, adiabatic cooling, radiant cooling, instead of the conventional air conditioning. So a lot of engineering is being done in this. And UAE is again a pioneer in this segment.
Very good.
Interesting. Very
Thank
nice.
you, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Next question on the line from some anonymous. He says, what is your perspective on failure? Interesting. What's your perspective on failure?
So I have failed so many times in so many projects that I've lost count. The only person who knows exactly how many times I failed is my wife, because she keeps reminding me every time I do a new project. She says, these are the projects which you failed. So you need to learn from those failures. And she keeps reminding me on all this. I did a very interesting project where I was working on enhanced oil recovery. Enhanced oil recovery using ultrasonic sound. So I lost hundreds of thousands of dollars in that, because I was taking on companies like Halliburton and companies like Schlumberger. They were doing something which was costing billions of dollars. We could have done that at 1/20th the price. But I thought that I was doing something which was not very safe. I got out of it without getting hurt, but I learned a lot from that experience. Now, all that knowledge which I had on the oil wells, I'm using it for carbon storage. So today, what is going to happen in the future is there's going to be too much carbon dioxide in the air, and people are going to convert that carbon dioxide into liquid CO2, and that needs to be stored somewhere. And the best place to store that is the old oil wells of the Middle East. So in another 50 years, people will be shipping liquid CO2 from US, Europe, and all the other parts of the world to Middle East so that we can store the liquid CO2 underground in the oil wells. So yes, failures are numerous. You need to learn from those failures, but better still is to learn from the failures of others. And that's why I think I really appreciate Vish and the people who are organizing this event, because you don't have to fail. We have all failed. We have learned from our failures. So you learn from our failures so that you don't fail. And you can be far more successful than what we have ever been.
Very nice way of thinking about it. I didn't think about it that way, but it's also makes sense. Sure.
Yeah, this is a question from me. I'm a student at CEG doing my material science, going to my third year. It's being a great inspiration to have a conversation with you, and stories that were being very wonderful, sir. Thank you.
Sugan is from material science in CEG. Very nice.
Amazing. We are doing a lot of research on material science, especially in terms of insulation, thermal properties, passive cooling. Material science is going to be the future.
Do you also work with startups, Sam?
A lot of startups. My open request to all the startups is connect with me if you want to test the product here in UAE and also help them scale up. We are working with multiple startups. My son does a startup. It's a very interesting thing which can be used in UAE. What he works on is normally what happens about 2 to 3 months before expiry, all the high-end products in Dubai come off the shelf of supermarket. And if it is not sold, it goes to the landfill. And that emits methane. So he and his friends have created a setup called Souk, which is sustainable souk. Souk in Arabic is market. So sustainable market, where they bring all these goods which are near expiry and inform the buyers that this is going to expire in the next 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, and sometimes even 6 months, and sell it at 90% discount. So this startup is profitable from day one. And now they're scaling up and they're taking in a lot of investments. I'm supporting them. I'm talking to my friends who are VCs in different parts of the world to come in and help them scale up here in UAE and also in other parts of the world. And incidentally, I continue to work with a lot of CGNs. Some of them have already come and spoken in this forum, like San, Adda, and Madan, who is in US, Karthiban, who also came and spoke here in the CG Connect. So we are all working on various projects together.
Very nice. Because the reason I asked is because we have quite a few startups I work with here, CG run startups. One of them is in waste management. So they might benefit from talking to you and maybe even look at implementing some projects together. There are also startups who are working on electric vehicle and battery storage technologies also. So I think what I would like to you, we also, I don't know if you're aware, we also have an angel group in the US of CEGNs called Gindi Alumni Angels. I think it will be important for you to consider joining that as well, because you could do a lot of mentoring of startups through that and also possibly invest in them as well. We have about 60 people in the group in Gindi Alumni Angels. We invest in US, we also invest in India, we also invest other parts of the world. So maybe you can bring some your expertise to help with evaluation and probably do some investment also. Think about that. I will send you some information on that. It's a membership-based setup. It's an annual membership, but you get access to a lot of startups and ability to invest in them as well.
So I'm happy to mentor the people, especially in terms of sustainability. At any point of time, I'm mentoring at least 20 people, and some of them are very, very senior people from KPMG, Ernst and Young, who are all very senior consultants at director level, but they want to learn about sustainability.
Yeah.
And the very interesting thing about me and learning is normally people study something and then they go and do. In my case, it is the reverse. I am implementing a project and then I said, I need to learn something from this. Then I go to the university and learn. And because I am actually learning, which I have already implemented or I'm part of it, it gives me a very good idea. When I was doing a net zero at Cambridge, I was contributing so much to the class that even before or immediately after I completed the program, they made me a faculty here in UAE.
Right.
So all the Cambridge programs which operated in UAE, I go as a faculty of Cambridge to train the people.
Wow.
So I'm always definitely open for mentoring.
Okay.
In terms of investments, now I have stopped financial investments in any kind of business, and I'm contributing back to society.
Very nice.
So I'm a patron in orphanages, and we are talking about large orphanages which have about 800 plus students. I'm doing a lot of charitable work, because now what I feel is that I've got so much blessing that now I want to focus on giving back. So that's my focus area. So charity and support is something which really motivates me at this point of time, and not investments.
Wonderful. I think a very good idea, because many of us, I have switched to a more social working mode in the last 4 years, doing stuff for the community, students, as well as for local charities, etc. We should connect about some of those things. We are doing some.
I'm very impressed by that food service which we're doing.
We are
I
doing.
do a very similar thing with my wife here in Dubai.
Okay.
And we've been doing this for many years now. So I am always tracking what you're doing, and that's possibly the best thing you could do.
Yeah.
And really appreciate what you're doing, Vish.
We are in the 4th year of our program now. We expanded to multiple locations in Chennai, multiple hospitals in Chennai as well. So definitely would take help for that in any form. Spread the word, tell people, so that we can continue to grow the tribe and do the work. So anyway, I think we are out of time now, but wonderful, Sam. Quite a lot of information you found. What I also want to do is, we do another program called CG Field Insights. CG Field Insights is also a CG Connect program, where we focus on any one vertical and talk a lot about the vertical. So we have done topics on electric vehicles. We have done topics on cybersecurity. We have done topics on cryptocurrency. We've done very relevant, interesting topics to do. So I want to do one on sustainability, specifically talking about all this net zero, carbon capture, how to work through the system, climate tech, etc. So I'll separately arrange for a session. This is a similar type of setup with the Google Meet, but the purpose is to talk about one vertical in depth. People who want to understand, like, what happens in COP. Is COP really an effective forum to do this? What exactly happens in COP? What exactly gets translated to real work from COP? All those kinds of things you want to learn. So I want to set up a separate CG Connect, CG Field Insight session on that. I think you should come and talk about that particular aspect in detail. We'll let you know about it. Maybe in the next 4 to 6 weeks, we'll arrange for a session on that. Also an online session. We want to invite you for that, to do that as well at the time. Right?
Sure. Especially direct air carbon capture, which we are doing in the built environment, is a huge opportunity. As a matter of fact, I've been invited to participate in a challenge for Empire State Building, energy efficiency.
Wow.
So this is trillions of dollars in terms of impact. Because just imagine, I can walk into any infrastructure today, including a LEED Platinum certified building, and say that I'm going to reduce your power by 10 to 15%, as long as it is operating on air conditioning. So we can have a huge impact, and this is a highly scalable business. So it can work in the US, it can work in Europe, it can make a big change in India, especially with all the IT parks and all that which we have. Going and telling them that we will be able to save them energy and improving air quality. So here, what happens is it is a business opportunity.
Yeah, understood. So I think those two specifically, when this see the field insights, the purpose is to talk about any one vertical. What are the opportunities for research? What are the opportunities for entrepreneurship? What are the opportunities for partnership? All that. We talk about all that. So that's the whole purpose of this, is for education, partnership, etc. So I want to invite you for that and have that session. But in the meantime, I think today was a very good session. We got a lot of information about the different fields you worked in. So I think once people watch the recording, there'll be a lot more questions about specific areas of the work you're doing. There'll be some on sustainability also. But I'll keep in touch with you offline. There are a few things I noted down as part of the discussion, which we can continue to follow up and discuss. There are some collaboration opportunities and some work that we can do together. So we'll do that. But unless there are other questions from the audience, just want to give one last chance for any questions from the audience. We'll
just your email ID, sir. If we have to reach out to you, how do we do that?
The last point, good you reminded me, Jitesh. The last point is people who are part of the session today, as well as people who are going to watch, may want to contact you. It's up to you to decide what kind of contact information you give. Some of my speakers only give the LinkedIn profile. Some of them share their email ID, and some share the phone number also. I don't decide what information that you share, but whatever you're comfortable that you can offer for people to reach out to you, we will publish that so that people can reach to you with whatever questions and help they need.
Yeah, LinkedIn is definitely a good option. And the other aspect is my email. I think you have my email. If you don't have, it's very easy. It's Khan Tata, KHANTATA @gmail.com. So that's my email ID. And if I'm not mistaken, my phone number and my email ID are there on the LinkedIn profile. And I'm happy to collaborate with anybody in CG. I continue to, like I said, connect with all the other CGNs who spoke in this forum. We are trying to work with all of them together.
Super.
And again, it's amazing what you're doing here, getting all the CGNs together. In my other alumni forums like Cambridge, they're very active. And there is so much learning which we can do with how they operate, similarly with the IITNs and IIM. So CG should also do something. Very interestingly, there was one college which had its global alumni meet in Dubai at the Queen Elizabeth II.
Wow.
And I was the keynote speaker in that conference. So might be we should think about a global alumni meet
of CG in Dubai. Oh, maybe we should do that.
Of CG in Dubai, and it could be at the Queen Elizabeth II, because I mean it was a wonderful experience, and might be if you do something like that, we are happy to support.
Absolutely, we will do one for sure. Middle East, I've been thinking of doing a get together for people in the Middle East, across all the different parts of the Middle East. I don't know if you remember 8 years ago, 7 or 8 years ago, when I came to Dubai, we had a meet like that in Dubai.
Yes. Yes.
We had a bunch of people come from Abu Dhabi and other places as well. We'll plan for one. This is the 100th year, by the way, of our alumni association. They're trying to do some programs, so maybe we should collaborate with you on that and try to do something. I will be in Dubai shortly. The next month and a half, I'm planning to be in Dubai for business visit. We should catch up some at the time and see what opportunities to collaborate as well.
Most definitely. I'm also going to be there in Chennai in August, because we are having 94 batch is having its Pearl Jubilee.
Okay, 30 years. Okay.
Yeah. So
when you're here, let me know. We can probably get together and catch up sometime here in Chennai as well. Would be good to know
Sure.
that. Yeah. All right, guys.
Sure.
So we'll call it a day. Thank you again, Sam, for your time. I know it's a Sunday
Thank
evening
you.
and it's a weekend. Tomorrow is a work day, etc. Thank you again, all
Thank you.
for staying
Thank you
back.
so much, sir.
Thank
It was
you.
great interacting.
Vanakkam.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Walaikum salam. That's all. Yeah.